Welcome to Declutter's Delight from downtown Randall, a town of 1,700 people. I'm calling to you from an old-fashioned motel back from the 50s. And you know what? Tonight's about decluttering for the life you want. I have a special spot that I go to up here usually once a year, but as a lot of you guys know that last year was the year, I'd like to bluntly say it was a year from hell, if you believe in hell, which I really don't. But for those of you who do, that's exactly the way it was. And I never had a chance to get up here. And it was a very healing experience. You know, even though there are folks that don't necessarily think that, going out in nature can be a very healing experience, I ran into a man that could possibly help me. And of all things, I never expected it. And you never know about things in life, about wanting the things you want. And a lot of us are always about the life you want to live. I'm actually here because I decided I was going to come up here for a day, but I decided to spend the night and do it on the spur of the moment. I never used to do things like this because I always thought, oh, I can't do that. It's too hard. It's too much. Oh, but. I always put so many buts in my way that I had to get in my own way. And for a lot of us, it's really hard to decide on what we want in life. And sometimes there are people out there that don't want to have to listen to what we have to say. And for a lot of us, sometimes it's hard to listen to what we have to say to ourselves because we are so good at putting ourselves down. And as a result, we feel like we get stuck. And when we get stuck, it's really hard to live the life you want. There's such a good world out there. And I know there's a lot of people, showing a lot of bad things that come across the screen and make the world out to be such a negative place and that there's no good out there in the world. But there are a lot of good people out there. And I ran into one today who said he normally doesn't talk to people, but he stopped and talked to me. And a lot of times, I think you always attract into your life what, you attract. And you also doing the footwork, one foot at a time. I like to say one foot in front of the other. And that sometimes we create some of our own luck and some of that manifestation that does happen out there. And a lot of people don't think they can go anywhere in life or make their own choices, and me including as one of them that used to think that way, when I realized there's a poor man's thinking and rich man's thinking. And I like the rich man's thinking a whole lot better than the poor man's thinking, because poor man's thinking to me is like thinking, I can't go anywhere. I want to procrastinate. I just want to sit there. I just want to, say to the world, poor me. Look at all that's happened to me. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. Well, to those folks, that's great. Sounds wonderful. I hope you can, find food, clothing, and shelter. And believe me, it's not always such an easy thing to do. And to realize that, we can all, end up in a system where it gets complicated and we end up, dealing with all that. Or we can all make a switch and think to ourselves, what can we do for ourselves? What can we do with the life we want to live? I know there's a life I want to live and I'm starting to live it. And I'm having things happen I never thought it could happen. And I've even got another possibility of something I'm working on to do with my pain doesn't work out. I'm going to check out. And that's a possibility. And I've got something in my back pocket I never had before. And if I hadn't been open to the universe and that opportunity, it wouldn't be here now. And learning to live the life I want to live is learning also to speak up for my needs. And for a lot of us who've dealt with difficult issues from our past, it's a real hard thing to learn. And sometimes it takes a long time to learn. And believe me, I understand that point. But once you learn to do those things and realize that you're your own person, and that whatever you're dealing with, and you can really say that maybe there is something I can do about what I'm dealing with. Maybe there is different choices out there I can make. I'm not saying that everything is the result of just, making different choices, but we can always say, realize that maybe there's somewhere within that what we're dealing with that we can say to ourselves, maybe there's something I can do that could get me out of the situation where I'm in a much better situation, which can lead to a much better situation after that. And just kind of one thing leads up to another. I'm working on having a life and dreams I've always want to have, and I know they'll happen. They will manifest if I just keep putting it out there and keep doing the work. Yeah, work. It's hard work sometimes to make our dreams and goals happen. But to me, it's all worth it because it gives me a sense of purpose in life. And having that sense of purpose is so important. I won't necessarily disclose what my purpose statement is in life, but I know for a lot of folks out there, they don't have purpose statements. And to me, a big thing about deciding about the life you want to live is having a purpose statement because it acts as a guiding light for your life. And for a lot of us, we need a guiding light for our life. And that doesn't matter what religion, creed, color, sexual orientation, or anything in life you're dealing with. A purpose statement really helps, and it helps you decide goals and a lot of time for some folks, dreams and where you want to go in life. And it's like an overarching thing that makes you want to think about things. And when you have a purpose statement, it's like saying to yourself, okay, these are a little bit set of rules I'm going to live by in life. And when you really are about decluttering the life you want to live, that really starts a decluttering process as a purpose statement. And also it helps you learn to organize your thoughts because you've got something to organize your thoughts with. I know for myself, having been a former hoarder and clutterer and compulsive overeater and compulsive shopper and just a whole bunch of stuff that in my life that my thoughts were not necessarily always in order. I always thought they were in order. I had a good job and everything, and I put on a good show for everybody. But I don't like putting on a show anymore. I like being who I am. And sometimes people don't like hearing what I have to say, but I like being true to myself. And sometimes it's telling the truth. And the truth isn't always so nice. But to me, at least if I know the truth of, at least as I see it in my perspective, and try to do it to the best of my ability, then at least I have nothing to say or have to remember in the first place in life. And if you ever put yourself out there, just remember that. Or when you empty out your own closet. And yeah, that can be either physical, mental, or spiritual closet. And all those skeletons you have. And when you empty out those skeletons, you have an empty closet to put all sorts of great stuff into. And when you have no skeletons, there's nothing that people have nothing to come after with against you. And that really opens up the life you want to live. And you can live at peace with yourself. There's a sense of freedom in your soul. And I know, I guess for me, going to my special place today, I sat on the bed and there's a bridge there, and I sat on it and meditated. And I had the breeze in the wind, and there was a babbling brook that kind of reminds me of emotions or life itself. It flows down hill. And if we live with life as like flowing down a stream downhill, it always usually finds a way around things to keep flowing so long as it has something to flow. And even if it seems not to, it does flow, and it does. Around beaver dams, there was a beaver dam there, and there was another area where the water got stuck in, and it still flowed down and continued. And life itself is like that. If we let it be, if we're willing to let our life flow that way, instead of trying to always fight everything upstream. And a lot of us fight things upstream. I know I did for a long time, but I prefer to flow downstream because it really opens up to the life I want to live. And that to me is a beautiful thing. And it reminds me of the beautiful flowers I saw in a field. And those flowers are like life, each one of them individual with their possibilities. And we all have our possibilities if we're open to the life we want to live. And with that, have a great Declutter's Delight for Life. Blessings, peace, tranquility, love, compassion, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And blessings to you from Randall, Washington tonight.